Today is April 16th, 2024, and welcome to SBA Today. Tanya, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about honesty and integrity and ethics in
Woohoo.
especially our own. The 7A Connect call that went on last week
Yep.
and industries that are impacted the most when it comes to unemployment. So,
All right. Well,
what's coming down the line?
perfect. Well, before we get into that, I was on vacation last week. And of course, I'm always looking for ways that, in your personal life that your, business and personal life kind of always intercepts. So we went to a resort in the Dominican Republic. And at this resort, they had all of these personal concierge. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And they have these little huts, and you can go in, and if you need your mini bar restuffed or towels, or you need to book an excursion, or they were just like your go-to people. Okay. And so I thought to myself, that's pretty cool. And they sold it really well on that until my wife walked in and sat down and was asking a few questions about some things. All of a sudden, it was no longer a personal concierge. Hey, how can I help you?
Yeah.
It turned into, what do you think when you're on vacation? A timeshare. And maybe I should have saw the writing on the wall, but I didn't. And so it was like, well, you can do this and we'll pay for it for you as long as you sit 20 minutes in this presentation. And then, the guy was like showing his pictures of his kids and goes, man, if you do this, it'll make me look good to my bosses.
Oh
And
my gosh. Seriously?
Seriously. And, how do my bosses don't know, if I'm doing a good job unless I have people attend this. And don't you have like 20 minutes in your vacation? And my wife comes back and she's telling me all this. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And she goes, so just so you know, I threw you under the bus and said, you're an evil husband and you make all the financial decisions in order to get out of it, which I'm not.
Good cop, bad cop. Got to have it.
Right. That's okay. But the reason that I want to describe this is it's all about ethics and transparency. Right. So when you're talking with a client and sharing something, are you truly being ethical in what you're doing? Or is it a bait and switch to get to an SBA loan? And customers are getting smarter and smarter these days and picking up on those things that are out there. So especially in one of the topics we're going to talk about today, honesty and ethics is a big deal. So don't be like a timeshare person, please, because nobody likes them. Nobody. No one goes on vacation and says, I think I'm going to buy a timeshare.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. Have you ever done that though? They get you too sometimes whenever they send out those, $199 and you can go. You got to bring somebody. So if you're married, you have to bring your spouse. Well, that's a telltale sign that something's fixing to go down.
Been there, done that.
Good cop, bad cop has to both be in the room. But anyway, and that's exactly what they do. They get you there. They want to try to sell the timeshare. In banking, I mean, look at what goes on, like you said, with loan officers. I mean, think about it. When somebody reaches out to you, so many out there I know like to, or they get concerned. I mean, I've even had team members and whatnot ask, well, when do you bring up rate? And I was like, right away. Well, when do you bring up, whatever? I was like, dude, the faster you bring it up, one, the faster they know where you sit, the faster they move on if that doesn't work for them. And the faster you are actually spending your time with those who can work with you if it doesn't work for whomever you're speaking with, right? So, be transparent, take on the deals you can. Don't overpromise, underdeliver. Overpromise. Yeah. What is it? Underpromise, overdeliver?
Yes. I always screw that up too. So I'm glad you said that.
Don't overpromise, underdeliver.
Right.
Yeah. So it's all about transparency. Everybody will pick up on it. They know before we even tell them anyways, just be upfront. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah,
so we're going to look at what industries that are most impacted.
Yeah, absolutely. So where are we at with that?
Well, it looks like, Paul, because this is going to surprise everybody. that when unemployment does occur, who is the highest impact? It's going to be mortgage. Imagine that. It's going to be mortgage brokers. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because unemployment happens. Not too many people are doing anything with their mortgages. They're not buying mortgages. They're not refinancing mortgages. They are just trying to make do. And the mortgage industry oftentimes is commission based. So that's a significant impact to the mortgage brokers.
Yep.
Looks like new family housing or multifamily housing makes sense again. Okay, instrument manufacturing for measuring and testing electricity. Well, I am so happy that we know that because I didn't realize there were that many industries out there that.
And you know what, Tanya? That's 90% of my portfolio here.
Oh yeah, I bet it is. I'm pretty sure it's
tell you what it is.
I didn't even know what they were talking about. Right? Oh my goodness. Periodical publishers, that actually makes sense. Interior design services. Yeah. I mean, people really, if there's unemployment going on, very few people are actually worried about what they're doing on the inside of their homes. They just want to keep a roof over their head.
Yep.
Office of Real Estate Appraisers. Yeah, I'm surprised real estate in general, brokers aren't on here. But yes, Office of Real Estate Appraisers are next. And then, you were on vacation, I was on vacation, those darn shellfish fishing.
Right. I had some oysters and such. Man, they were fine.
Really? I was like, all right, that was kind of an interesting one. I mean, all those shellfish I saw when I was diving, poor things, man. Next, unemployment rate goes up. They get to live. Nobody's taking them out.
That's true. So I guess it's a benefit for them.
It's a benefit for them, yeah. Right? Probably not those that are fishing them, and
right,
disrespect to them, and we're making a little bit of fun here, but no disrespect whatsoever. So anyway.
Well, another thing I want to talk about is last week we had the 7A Connect call, and I don't know how many people actually attend the 7A Connect call. It's always pretty packed from when we do that. And I love them. They're quarterly, and I strongly recommend, regardless of your position, to be on it, because it really does give you a lot of the back end, how the sausage is made when it comes to SBA lending. So just a few things I just want to share with everyone. Again, we talked about there is a new 1919 in the works. It's not going to be any big changes, but they were talking a little bit that the form's going to be a little bit more interactive, which I think is kind of cool. They replaced the SBSS score, that 155 score we got to have above for small loans. It's now called the Redwood score, but it's pretty much the same information and same data. They moved to Deloitte for that.
No, I think coming up, we're just going to let's call it Tanya and Paul's score.
There you go, exactly.
The Gisa
75. They are coming out, and this one's interesting. I'm still a little confused on it, to be honest, but they're coming out with a new working capital pilot program that is for domestic and export. And it provides a 75% guarantee up to $5 million. And it's coming out around August. But again, it is a pilot program. So it'll be interesting to see as more information comes along about that. So we'll see how that goes. And the biggest question is, we need another program? Like, there's this thing called 7A that I don't think anyone's ever heard of.
And then you combine the 7A with maybe the international trade loan, and I think you got that covered, don't you?
Right. So maybe I'm missing something. I don't know, but I'm sharing on that. But here is my favorite part of the call was, guess what, kids? There's new codes. God, I love codes. Don't we love our codes? So there's now a marijuana code. If they think you're a marijuana business, it's an 809.
It's not 420.
No, right? I mean, I would put that as the number. I like that. If you are currently incarcerated, there's a code, which I think that would be fascinating to get something like that. Probation and citizenship are also two new codes that come through, and they are working on a few more codes, which that just scares the crud out of me. I'll just be honest. There is an OFAC code a disbarred agent. So I think it's going to replace Sam. I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but that'll be interesting. And an SBLC code, because I'll be honest, I didn't know this. Do you know you can't make a loan to an applicant that received funds from an SBIC, Small Business Investment Company?
I did not.
Learn something every day. See, that's the whole point of the that call.
Yeah.
So those are some of the new things that are coming out there. So
Oh, come on, you missed. The working capital is not the SBA.
oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
How is working capital not the SBA isn't working? Isn't that what working capital is? Is the SBA garbage dump?
So again, and I'll hi Eddie Ledford if you're listening. It's an unfortunate. Sometimes you just kind of put it. Oh, that's just working capital. It's just I call it the garbage dump. Just throw it all in there and call it good. Okay. That is not what working capital is. Okay. We all know that. And SBA is, again, reminding us that that's not the case. If it's going to be for tenant improvements, code it as tenant improvements. If it's working capital, do it as working capital. Some of the things that also on working capital is, maybe you don't give them all the money up front. Maybe you do multiple disbursements to help them with that.
What's funny is I think that's where people get stuck, is because they're trying to get it dispersed quicker rather than later. So it's like throwing all these things in there, which honestly, yeah, we need to split it out. I mean, if you've got 4 months of marketing, then put it as 4 months of marketing, not some bucket, automatic disbursement at loan closing. So I get the discrepancy between why the banks and bankers want to put it, in the garbage dump of working capital. And typically, oftentimes, I think what happens is there's the need for it. They're just trying to kind of get it dispersed quicker. But I understand also where SBA is coming from, of trying to get it more, break it out. I mean, we have to anyway. We have to break that out before it even goes in. If it's some extraordinary number, I'm like, really, really? And then you start looking at it. Half of it's equipment or half of it's something else. And it's like, then put it in that bucket. We're going to have an issue. So anyway.
Well, and one thing that I was thinking during the call is that if they're talking all about this working capital, does that mean that the government knows something that we're needing working capital here in the future, if you know what I mean? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but it did make me think, why are they all focused on working capital now?
No, Paul's not a conspiracy theorist, but we're going to throw that out there in that tiny little tidbit that he just gave there. So all of you now are wondering what's coming down the line. Let's see if we can start something. I'm kidding.
Let's go viral.
I'm kidding. Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Well, looks like if I think we're done with today's news. But we'd love to have you follow us next time. So if you want it breaking, then obviously catch us next Tuesday. Otherwise, we're on all the streaming platforms as well. And we'd love to see you back, and let us know if there's anything that you want us to discuss or you want us to bring to the forefront. Or my God, if you know something we haven't heard yet, be kind. Share.
That's right.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks. See ya.
Yeah.